So I always had that association with Insidious because it got me away from that because it was like, damn, I like this movie.
Get you out of your
head.
head.
Different, yeah. And then the second one that you were in, the third one.
Yeah.
It wasn't just a retread of the first one.
Yeah, no, they tried to
really
continued
continued the story out.
Yeah.
And Conjuring sort of did the same thing.
Yeah.
Except for, the second one was a little bit of but I was into the Warrens as a kid.
Oh, really?
Because I got real heavy into, my grandfather was real big into ghosts, parapsychology when I was growing up. So I had become aware of them as a kid. And then I thought...
Because I hadn't heard of them until The Conjuring stuff.
Yeah. Well, when it came out, I was like, nobody's ever made a movie about these guys.
And they have a lot of cases.
Oh my God. And their little museum.
Yeah, I've never been there.
No, I haven't either. That's always been on my bucket list.
I never got. They got Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga got to meet Mrs. Warren.
Yeah, they met. Yeah, because Ed had already done.
Yeah, I never got to meet her. So.
She's quite a trip, from what I understand from just some of the books I've read.
Apparently, most of the stuff they did were. Do you guys know what we're talking about? The Warren people.
I guess we might. You want to just?
I guess let's just
start kicking right off here.
All right.
So that was the preview of Human Attraction.
Yes.
Anyway, okay, this is Mr. Steve Coulter.
Yeah, that's it.
And when I, like I was telling you earlier today, I got sort of got thrown into this one.
Yeah.
Didn't have anyone to sit with you.
And we can talk about Insidious or the Conjuring movies. I tend to they blend a little bit together because they have similar casts. Like Patrick Wilson and I will joke about. We think we're talking about a Conjuring movie, and we're talking about an Insidious movie. Because one of the things, James Wan, I was talking to someone earlier about it. He's a very loyal director and producer because I first worked with him, I wish I knew the year, but it was the first Conjuring, which we shot in Wilmington, North Carolina. And this is what led to Insidious, because I just had one scene. I played Father Gordon, that you may or may not know. And I compare Father Gordon as like Commissioner Gordon in Batman. He's the one that finds the cases. And usually I just go, we joke about it, and I'd go like, yeah, they got a problem in Massachusetts. Good luck. And the Conjuring 3, I actually had to go and do some stuff, actually, for a change. I got hit by a plate and all that stuff. But, yeah, just in one scene, and it went fine. It wasn't, anything extraordinary. It didn't have to act up a storm. But about a year later, I got an email from James Wan and said, I'd like you to do this role in Insidious. It was a really nice role.
It was good.
And as an actor, you forget that people have memories. Like you try to do a good job on every job. My daughter, I tell her my motto is do more than is asked of you and be kind. So if you get hired to do a job, you always just want to do your very best. But like I said, it wasn't extraordinary, but he remembers people. And so I did that, and it was probably one of the bigger roles I had at that point. Because the common thread through all the movies is James Wan, and his spirit is in a lot of it. I do think he's the best director of his stuff. I mean, he's a very good producer. But having been in an Insidious that he directed, and then when someone else, he has a take on things. He just has a real talent for it. He loves, not only does he like sort of horror, but, and it goes for Insidious as well as the Conjuring stuff, he doesn't even though he studies movies, he loves movies. And he knows, but he really respects the audience. So he doesn't want to hand stuff to the audience. He's a big believer in that, okay, we do 2/3 of the work, but the audience should do, because he's an audience. He knows, and he doesn't hand stuff to people. I made the example of, let's say while I was talking, you took my phone. And we shot that in our movie. And then later, an hour later in the film, I go, where's my phone? A lot of filmmakers will do a little flashback to go, remember? Well, audiences remember. They haven't been doing other things. They've been watching the movie. And if we shot it in a way that's not... Well, he won't do stuff like that. He assumes, he said, if the audience doesn't get it, Well, they should have. They should pay attention to the movie.
That's right.
Because and what his theory, which I agree, I came up doing theater, and with theater too, you're so involved with the audience. If you start handing it to them, the audience will sort of sit back instead of like sitting forward and listening and involving you. And because you guys know, as a movie, to involve you, you sort of contribute. Your attention contributes to the movie. You're putting two and two together. He's a big believer in let the audience solve the equation. Don't hand it to them, because otherwise then they're passive instead of getting you involved. And in a horror film, and I think one of the reasons the Conjuring movies do so well, they don't just do well with horror fans, which are a great fan base. People that don't normally go to scary movies, but it's kind of like The Exorcist, because it's a good movie.
Yes.
It's not just a good. And he doesn't, even though he loves horror movies, he doesn't like. He tries to do something that's genuinely scary in a human way, not in a movie way. I mean, he knows how to do jump scares. He's a master at the technical aspects of filmmaking. But he remembers I compare him often to Stephen King. Stephen King, despite his success, he still remembers that day-to-day stuff, those core, real old stuff that scares you, instead of Hollywood's idea of what is scary, or cheap things are just being gory. So he's the through line of all that, and it's really fun is that he loves making the movies. He gets so excited. He's like a kid. He almost acts like he's 14 years old. He just can't wait to get started. If you do something well, he gets so excited about it. He's looking forward to certain parts of the movie that, we'll get to do this tomorrow and like that. So it's hard because even though some of the other directors I've worked with in the different, especially with Insidious, because we've had what are the different directors? Actually Patrick Wilson though, because Patrick Wilson directed the last Insidious, the Red Door one, and he was really good. He was like, I wonder, we're always making fun of each other. I always mock him. I just mock him because like the last time I saw him, I think it was this last Conjuring movie. I just seen Aquaman. I didn't care for a whole lot. I didn't say that, but I complimented him on his hair, and so we're constantly trying to one up each other. Well, he joked about first Insidious movie made a ton of money. And the second one, and I just got paid regular. I didn't have points in the movie or anything. But he was talking to Vera Farmiga during the Conjuring, I guess Conjuring 3, and he said, "Oh yeah, man." He was talking about his pool. He lives in New Jersey, and he said, "Oh yeah, man. I guess after Conjuring 2 or after Insidious 2, that's the movie that bought my pool." And I said, after Insidious 2, I ordered artichoke hearts on a pizza. That was my extravagance. And I'd done an HBO movie with Robert De Niro, and that's dropping a name right there. But it's for when you finish a movie or a TV show, they often give you wrap presents, like the end to celebrate the end of the wrap. And often it's a baseball cap. Oh, remind me to tell you, it's a great Conjuring baseball cap story. But for this movie I did with Robert De Niro, they said it was a backpack, but like a really high quality. It's like, this is really, usually it's like a windbreaker.
Right, yeah.
It's like, and I also don't want to wear a
shirt
that says
cap or something.
Conjuring 2. It's like you usually give that stuff away. But this is a really nice thing, and it had Wizard of Lies on it, but not like, you had to really look closely to see it. So it was like, it's not advertising, because I don't like doing that. But so I had that, and I went, and Patrick had just done Aquaman, so he was kind of full of himself in a nice way. He's a very nice guy. But I had my backpack on, we were in the makeup trailer, and he just mocked me about something. And I said, "Oh, have you seen? Oh, Patrick, I've got this. This is from Wizard of Lies. It's with Bob De Niro. If you work with, oh, you haven't worked with Bob De Niro. If you work with Pacino, because I just worked with him again, the second time. So, anyway, let me tell you, The Conjuring." If it's okay, yeah, we're breaking the rules of the panel.
Oh, break the rules all the time. I would break the rules all the time.
I don't think there's any kind of county law.
No.
But, so Conjuring 2 is weird, because I'm not in the movie a whole lot. I'm in like 5 scenes or whatever. but I was spread out. They shot it over summer, so it was a great job because I go work like 1 day a week. So by the end, I think it was on my last day, towards the end, it was in the end of the summer, and Patrick Wilson said, "Make sure you don't go before you get your rap present. It's on the way." Because it was his baby. He was doing the rap present. I was like, wow, that sounds pretty cool. He has all that Aquaman money. This is going to be really neat. And he kept belling. He goes, "Don't, are you sure? Okay, no, the guy, he's on his way here. He's on his way here." And I was like, this is going to be really nice. So finally, he's like this little kid buying a present. It's like Father's Day, and I'm his dad. He's got a tie. And he goes, they're here. I'll have them bring it by. And I was like, okay. So I waited like an hour and a half after I was finished shooting for this incredible rap present. I wish I still had it. I don't know. I don't know what happened to it. Usually I'll bring them to like a con and just give them away. If they have a charity auction, this thing I would not have donated to anything. It was like, it's as if someone said, okay, Patrick, here are the most unpleasant colors you could color any kind of piece of clothing. Which one do you like? Oh, this one, it was like an off-flesh color tan, and his baseball cap. He goes, and Patrick, which baseball cap design cap would you like that is the stiffest and most probably uncomfortable cap that's not adjustable? Would you like, was that this one? Oh, great. And what would you like on it? An indecipherable logo? Would that be good? Indecipherable, so no one even, it's not quite a symbol, it's not letters, it's just something that is confusing. And would it help if it's unattractive too? Yes. Yeah, he gave me this, and I thought it was almost a joke, but that he'd been so excited about it. Yeah, it was this tan-colored, wide brim. It was the kind of hat that your mother would buy you at Sears. And like you couldn't even bend it to make it look. And then it had I can't even describe what it was. It was like this. I think it was like C3. And he came in. He was like, "How did you like it?" I guess it'd be like, now I know how dads feel when they get like ridiculous presents from 4-year-olds. Like, "Daddy, look, a gravy fork." It was something. And I was like, "Thanks, I'm really glad I stayed almost 2 hours." Yes, that's my pattern. But he was great, very, very, very good director on Insidious 4. Rose Byrne and I came in to we were sort of little cameos in it. But he was very funny. He always joked, we had a running joke that my character in Insidious, Carl, who has I got to dress really nice in the last one.
Yes.
Black, which we'll get to that in a moment. Because in the other Insidious movies, I have this like overcoat that he joked that I looked like a dirty old man or like a child.
You did, yeah, actually.
He said I looked like a child. To be quite honest, he said, "You look like a child molester with your little goatee." And he always just said, "Do you ever wash that coat?" It's just like that. Which is maybe why he put me in really nice clothes in the last one. So he's always mocking me. And then he would send me these pictures as he was getting ready to shoot the film. And it's just one scene. I wish I had this picture I could show. And he sent me a picture of this junky car. And he was like so pleased with himself that he says, "I found Carl's car." And it's just like, really? That's going to be my car? He was so happy with himself. But I took a picture when I went to the production offices. It had Patrick Wilson, director. So I had a picture of me looking like I'm just going like that. And he wanted me to put it on Instagram, and I said, okay. So, yeah. So that's, yeah. But the Insidious 2 was really, because Barbara Hershey was in it.
Yeah. Is that the one in London?
No, that's the
that's Conjuring.
Yes.
Conjuring. I get them mixed up all the time. Yeah.
Insidious 2 was the one.
No, I remember that one. Yeah, that's when we meet Mother.
Yeah, and so it was really great because Barbara Hershey, I had grown up with a crush on her and watched her in all these Woody Allen movies and stuff. And I was so nervous because one of my first scenes was with her. Oh, and here's a good. This is terrible. So I'm very nervous. And I have this scene where I meet her for the first time, and she's a very nice woman. And it was helped then because there's sort of an unspoken, like they maybe have a whatever attraction or something. But so we did it in the morning. We shot wide shots of just, cameras back here. Went very well. And then we had lunch. And I came back to do the close-ups. And this is how diplomatic James Wan is. So I'd done like 1 or 2 takes. And he goes, Steve, okay, because he's got sort of a British accent. Steve, yeah, remember this morning? That was really, really good. It was Australian. That was really, really, really good. Could you try to do it like that? So I said, so what you say, Jason, is what I'm doing now is not good. He went, no, but this is the morning. Remember this morning? So, because I think I got very nervous, so that's how I did it. So I did it better, thank God. Yeah, just everyone was very delightful. People often ask when you do scary movies, because I went for a while. It's weird, because I've done like 100 movies and TV shows. So I've done about 6 scary movies. But horror fans are so loyal, and the movies do very well because they're very popular. But I didn't like Lynn Shay, who's in most of these movies. Yep. I don't know if you guys know what an extraordinary actress she is. She's also a comedic actress. She was in Something About Mary, the tanned woman with the dog that gets thrown out the window. She was in Kingpin, one of the most notorious characters ever, that landlady that's so disgusting.
Oh, she changes her appearance.
Yeah,
it's incredible.
And she doesn't get the opportunity, because one thing that we talked a little bit about, because I stopped, I've been offered other horror stuff. I really only do, I guess, James Wan stuff. Because you can get, Hollywood is weird where they'll go, oh, that's a horror actor. Like Lynn Shay is an extraordinary actor, but she almost only does horror because they don't think it's ridiculous. What was I going to say? Oh, what was my point? Where did I start to say? It's gone.
It'll come back.
The end. Thank you very much.
She isn't.
Oh no! This is when you've done horror movies, people ask you, have you ever had scary things happen to you? Like on a set. And never, except one time, it was Insidious 2, and we're shooting in this. It's in Los Angeles. It's in an abandoned hospital. And it was just a regular hospital. It wasn't a mental hospital. But I think in the film, I should know better what it exactly was. But it had been abandoned for about 5 years or so, and we shot in the basement. And it's an old building, so all the hallways are very narrow. And there's still some hospital beds and things in the rooms. And we were in the records room, and all the hospital records were still there, which seems odd, like with HIPAA and everything. So to kill time, you're looking through sadness. And it's like, oh my God. But the main thing is that you're in a place that, hospitals, people don't go there because they're happy or they're doing well. There's a lot of, and I'm not very woo-woo-ish, but also there was a rape and murder in the basement of this hospital. And normally on a set, you have an area where the actors are kind of corralled. It's on the base set. And normally actors, you wander off. If you're not going to be shooting for an hour, you might wander around the neighborhood or wander around the... Especially building. It's kind of fun when you're on location in a building. Like I remember shooting on an old estate in Louisiana, and you kind of wander. It's fun to see stuff. No one wandered around. They all just stayed. It was like a campfire. We're all like this. But then someone said, I think it was Lee Winnell, who played he also was a director and writer. He said, did you see the room down the hall? And I said, no. He said, it's really cool. It's got actually all the furniture still in it. And it's not a set. It's still got the furniture. It's not scary. It's just kind of cool. It looks like frozen in time. And I went down, and, what's his name? Lee and, not Linus. He played, the 2 guys with the beard. He was in there behind a bed, so I went in there and he jumped out, and I just about wet myself, soiled myself. My hair turned a little grayer than it already is. But that was a case where there really was I'm not a big believer in ghosts and stuff, but I am a big believer in certain either certain people, certain places where you just go, something feels. Remember, there's Stephen King is always going, something feels wrong here, and something felt very wrong. We were all kind of, and you're shooting also at 3 o'clock in the morning, and it's kind of creepy. We never, but other than that, for the Conjuring movies, they didn't do it for Insidious, but for the Conjuring movies, I guess because it involves Catholicism and stuff. James Wan always brings a priest on set the very first day of, and they bless the set.
Yeah.
Which is always like, well, it's not a bad idea.
Since The Exorcist, I've heard that happens quite a bit.
Yeah, and one thing, Vera Farmiga in the first Conjuring, I wasn't there, I'd left by then.
Yeah.
I forget the exact details, but she was talking, I'd heard about it and I asked her about it the last time I saw her. She came home the next day from shooting, and she hadn't done any physical stunts or anything. All her arms were all bruised. And that was kind of, the doctor didn't know what it was. It didn't hurt. It was all, so that was kind of, but when you're dealing with evil, because I do know there's evil in the world. We just saw it in the Mideast with the Hamas, human Hitler. People, and I remember walking, I used to live in New York, I remember walking past this guy, and I just got this really bad feeling for it. It wasn't just like a scary guy, New York has a lot of scary looking guys.
It does.
It was just like, I felt like raised, so anyway, so I think that's also one of the reasons I don't like scary movies, because they scare me. But I guess that's it, yeah.
Well, you got a guy, James, you were talking about James Wan. I think he was very heavily influenced by some of the old classics.
Yeah,
because a lot of what I liked about Insidious was what you didn't see.
Yeah.
What you were just saying. Yeah. And it brought me back to one of my favorite films as a kid growing up called The Haunting.
Oh, yeah.
And there was one scene, I remember the first time I watched it, I was having a little black and white TV, it was late at night, my folks were really good about let me do that, because it was one they showed late at night, and it was a scene where there was something behind the door, some kind of evil spirit, and that scared the hell out of me more than anything in any movie I'd ever seen. And I noticed that.
Well, because the audience, I think I don't know if it's Conjuring 2, where there's the thing that's it's under the bed. We all have that.
Oh, yeah.
There's no special effects, really. No. It's not like climbing a wall. There's that because it's like Jaws. One of the reasons Jaws is so effective is you're imagining, and nothing's going to match what you imagine. And he's a big believer. Yes.
No, it was very clear. Yeah, that attracted me too, because I had been watching monster movies all my life. Yeah. It's like, you're going to scare me. You're going to have to do something different. Yeah. But that's one way to do it. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
They're very unique. They're very unique films. Yeah. It's not the same old tired stuff where you just splatter stuff all over the screen.
It's a little tricky because there's so many horror. It's hard to be original. It's hard to scare somebody.
Yeah,
it's like the audience is about pretty sophisticated. Filmmakers are about sophisticated, and that's why I understand why they still do jump scares, because jump scare will always work because it's just if they've earned it. I think because James Wan, he does them. But he, like that thing in Country 2 with but he really builds up to that. It's not just, the cat just jumps up out of the, or if he'll do it, it's almost like a joke, like, I got you, because I know you're tense.
Yeah.
Let's let some of this thing on. But, yeah. So I guess if anyone has a question, or if you need to borrow money, that would be nice. Steve Coulter's pedals are very popular. He gives away money. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Any questions? Or you want me to guess your weight?
I know the first time I saw this, that I was going to sit in with you on this panel, I thought it's an Insidious Conjuring, and I thought, they make another movie? I haven't seen that.
They should, yes. Insidious 7. It's like, how many have there been now? There's like 4? I should know. Or 5. That's Insidious.
5.
Insidious.
Yeah, Red Door is the 5th one.
Yeah, Red Door's the last one. I haven't seen that. That one I haven't seen. Conjuring.
Three.
Yeah, but then you can count some of the spin-offs because
Well, yeah,
they're tied in with Annabelle
Yeah.
and all of those. So.
None.
And the Nun, yeah, I mean, so there's a, that's a wide, that's almost like a little,
It's quite a
little
yeah, it's a
universe
little-
in itself.
yeah.
Like MCU is not the only universe.
That's right, buddy. Yeah, we did, because we did a little. We visited Annabelle.
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah. Well, I think, yeah, it was one of the main attractions of the little museum.
Yeah.
One of their, that was one
It's
of
actually
one of the stories.
It's a
I remember
Raggedy
reading
Ann
about.
doll.
Yeah, it's Raggedy Ann,
which is
right,
actually a little
exactly.
scarier.
I think so.
One thing is, someone was asking me, did you ever meet the Annabelle? I was like, well, I met them. But on the Annabelle movie, I was sitting one thing that was really cool about that is we shot on a Warner Brothers lot. And I remember when I first went to Los Angeles, I didn't go as an actor, I was an actor, but I took my family out there around a long time ago, 25 years ago. And I had this image of Hollywood as being Hollywood, And I took my kids to the Hollywood Walk of Fame, and it's a little bit cleaner now, but it's it's like in one of the worst parts of Los Angeles. It's like, I remember there was like a Michael Jackson impersonator that was like 55, and he didn't smell very good. And there's a lot of and it's kind of sad because it's dirty, and you'll see like I don't know, Carol Lombard's star, and then there's a man that looks like he died a few days. So it's kind of disillusioning. All that to say, and I went to Grauman's Chinese Theater, which is kind of neat. You see, Humphrey Bogart and Shirley Temples. But when you go to the Warner Brothers studio, it's kind of frozen in time. And so I got to sort of go back and, because each of the big sound stages has plaques of the movies that shot there. So you'll see, you'll say East of Eden, Casablanca, Rebel Without a Cause, the Sand, you get to kind of have that idealistic version of Hollywood and that way. That was a great place to just wander around when I was shooting as a little crazy. Because that's part of it as being an actor is very fun. Because especially we all, you grow up watching TV shows and movies, and you still see. The one thing that Patrick Wilson and I would joke a lot, like we're getting paid to play pretend, to do what we love to do. He doesn't take himself very seriously. You do the work, if you can call it work. You do your job really well, but it's still kind of, you're walking around in those fog machines, and you're like, I'm a grown man, and and they give us free food, really good free food, and more M&Ms than you could ever want, free sodas. It's like, you feel like you're a kid, and you feel like someone's going to come in and go, I'm sorry, you have to stop doing this, you have to go back and work at a bank now. So it's just fun. So if you have if you have a question.
So horror wasn't really your thing.
No, and it still isn't. Part of it is that I don't like being. I love roller coasters and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not squeamish about violence, but stuff about what's the movie The Ring? Never plan on seeing it. I saw.
First one was okay, then it got a little.
Well, part of it, I never forget remember the Amityville Horror? It was a big bestseller. And I know since then they found out, some of it may not have been true.
Well, no, the real story is more horrifying than what you saw in the movie.
Well, the book, I read the book, I tore through it. I was in college at the time.
Me too.
And I was reading it in my room, and it freaked me out so bad, I had to leave the room. I thought there was and again, I'm not a believer in spirits and stuff. It terrified me so much. I had to leave the room, went across the quad, and asked a buddy of mine, I said, can I stay over here? Because I just can't get back there. And I also saw a movie when I was about 15. I was home by myself. I don't know where my parents were. And it was a movie called, I think, The Other, with Uta Hagen.
Oh, yeah.
About this little twin kids or something.
Yeah.
And at the end of the movie, spoiler, she's locked the kid, or they've locked the kid in this, a kind of outdoor basement thing, and there's a fire, but then the last shot of the movie is the padlock is off.
Yeah.
And I remember screaming at the TV, no! And so that's why I'm not a horror fan, because especially about even, I saw The Exorcist at a drive-in in the pouring rain and still scared the crap out of me.
Exorcist will mess with your mind. I remember driving home from I was in college
Yeah.
at the time, having to drive back from the theater back to the dorm was the longest drive in the world. It was, I could see
I
things.
think it taps into something
It does. Yeah.
that there really is maybe. Well, I think there's a force of good in the world, so that's why horror. I mean, I went to see it, and I love it. It's odd because I love Stephen King. I've read everything Stephen King has written, and but horror movies again, it's sensorially, is that a word? It's no. It's more overwhelming. It just kind of, and even I was telling someone earlier, when you do a movie, they'll send you a screener of it, so that when you're talking to people, like press people, you know what you're talking about. And so you get to see it about a month or so before it comes out. And I'll always watch it. I'll put my laptop like on the coffee table and sit back here on the couch. All the curtains have to be open. And even then, I remember I went to the premiere of, I think it was maybe The Conjuring 3, and I was like this. I was like, that's how I used to watch. I remember watching The Wizard of Oz, because the monkeys, that's how I watched it. Yeah, I love it. Because I just, and even though I know where we shot it, and I know what we did, and that was the day that Vera had the stomach bug. But when you're watching it, because they've crafted it, and the music, and the lights, and it pulls you in, and it's terrifying. And I don't yeah.
It definitely messes with your mind.
Yeah, I can't. I went down a YouTube rabbit hole the other day, and I think I saw even just a thing of an old YouTube thing about the Ring, and I was like, nope, not even going to look it up.
The first Ring was very disturbing. The second, then once now the game.
Yeah,
the others after that, it's sort of like, okay, well, you've already got that time, so.
Yeah, I like scary that. Have you guys seen Black Mirror? I love those because they're kind of. It's more like Twilight Zone or Night Gallery because I love those. It's weird because I loved Night Gallery as a kid.
Oh,
that's pretty horrific.
Yeah, and Twilight Zone and Outer Limits.
Yeah, I guess it was more clever than evil.
Yes.
But even that, wasn't that Karen Blackwell with the little thing in her?
Oh, that was, what, Trilogy of Terror?
Yeah.
Well, but the thing about Sterling was more...
he was doing metaphor for social stuff.
Yeah, and he would have the twist like O. Henry. I mean,
and that's what Black Mirror does that really, really well.
The ironic twist at the end.
And this is a plug for something I'm not in, but if you like it, there's a new show. It's a British series, limited series, only 8 episodes. Just came out on Netflix a little while ago called Bodies. I don't know if you've seen it. Highly, it's scary. It's a mystery. It's one of the most original mysteries I've ever seen. It's told in a way that I don't think has ever been told. And there's a lot. When you watch something and you go like, oh. There's a lot of that. Like, oh my God! And I did it. There's this one scene where I literally, when my wife was in the kitchen, and I just went, you sort of saw something like, no, that's not going to happen. And I did. I just went, oh my God! And then I waited for my wife because she was like a couple days behind me on it, so she was watching it, and I just heard this, oh no! and they heard, it's really terrific. It's funny and clever, and I love clever. It's just like, because again, we as audiences have gotten pretty smart. I'm not that smart, so it's really kind of hard to really kind of do something fresh and new. And so it's called Bodies. It's no one you'd really recognize except this one actor you would. He's terrific, but it's just pure. It's a great example of. You don't have to have stars to pull you. It's just like, if it's a good story.
No, it's all about the story.
Yeah, it's great. So
but I'm with you totally on force feeding an audience.
It's just
it's insulting.
Yeah,
it really is. And,
I remember.
I'm with you. All these little flashbacks and stuff. Guys, I was just here 5 minutes ago. I know. I talk to my screens a lot.
Yeah.
When I watch them, it's bad.
Well, I've directed actors. I remember telling actors like when an actor, like let's say, what's your name?
Brian.
Hey Brian, let's say you lent me $200, and so I say you come to Steve. Do you have the $200? And I say what I did is I went and I bought a TV. And my line is, oh, I'm sorry, my sister got stuck and I had to buy her a plane ticket. But I promise I'll get back to you. Well, a lot of actors will go, I'm sorry, my sister got stuck. And, and as if I got to let the audience know that I'm lying.
Yeah.
It's like, that's not how lying works. When you lie, you're telling the actor, like, oh God, you believe it. My sister, who I haven't talked to in like 6 years, I did not want to do it. Believe me, I did not want to do this. And, so it's because we've all lied. And so when we don't do that, when I see someone do that, it's the same thing of like, well, we got to let the audience know that. Even something like acting, I use.
That's when people act.
Well, the best bad guys, because bad guy, you see, Hannibal Lecter. He doesn't think he's bad.
Yeah.
This is what he loved. Some people love to play baseball on Saturdays. He likes to kill and eat people.
Yeah.
And I remember even Nazis. We stand back and go, oh my God, how could people do that? But they thought, well, they were doing. And so when you're playing someone like that, and if you're doing a movie like that, you can't judge your character. And I think that's what a lot of filmmakers do. They think, well, I got to let them know what we're doing. And it's like, they're not children. And it's I hate that. Yeah, so you just go, why did
I call it soap opera acting.
It is soap opera acting.
That's
soap opera on
when I've
TV.
directed people on stage or whatever, it's like, don't let me see you.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to let me
Well, I
see
remember seeing, I saw a play recently, it was like, okay, there's the bad guy, there's the suspicious guy, there's the funny guy, instead of, because that's a pet peeve of mine.
Yep, I agree.
But good directors, they don't, they do not do that.
Yep.
And the same thing with sarcasm is if I'm telling you, like, I think you're the smartest man I've ever met. I don't go, I think you're the smartest man I've ever met. You gotta go, you're the smartest man I've ever met. And that's much more hurtful. And this,
Yeah, that's the law. No,
yeah. I could talk about 2 hours about acting, but I won't do that. So, any questions? Yeah.
Yeah, I saw an interview with James Wan. He likes doing horror, PG-13.
Yeah.
He likes it. Do you ever talk to you or talk to people about why that is? Is it more of a challenge to make something scary that isn't over the top gory?
Yes, I think part of it because it gives you. It's like having a low budget. You have to be more with a lower budget, which is money. You have to be more creative. PG-13. I think you have to do it more up here versus just put some blood up there or just And I think he hasn't said that, but I think it's more of a challenge to him because also again going back to like Stephen King, I don't think James Wan has forgot what it's like to be 13. With the 13, about that age, 12, 13, 14, where we're kind of grown up. We're not really, but we're pretty smart, and especially around scary stuff. I think that's if you can, you're not a child anymore. So it is a good, that's why I think it's a good cutoff too, because otherwise it's a smaller playing field. I think so. It makes you you have to dig a little deeper. I think so.
They make a lot of money.
Yeah, well, that's true. You also make a lot more money.
Well, the PG-13 helps because it's more marketable.
Yeah.
But they're also better.
But
the first Conjuring movie is probably the best horror film I've seen in the 21st century.
It really is, and it's like a good movie. Like it's just, it's like I agree with you. It's just like it's a something to it.
Very
It's
well.
not. I don't even remember any gore or anything.
A little
But
bit.
you don't have to have it. If you think back when the first Halloween came out, there's no blood in that.
Not really.
It's all implied.
No, it's a little.
It's,
no, it's
I mean,
not.
yeah, it's a tiny
Well, I saw
bit
the
compared
last
to what we
Halloween.
see now.
I saw one of the last ones, and I was like, I wanted to like it, but it was just all it was just whacking the fire
It's like-
thing, getting the thing. It was almost. I thought it's
Slice
supposed to be a
and dice.
joke because it was so over the top. That's not scary.
Look at the first pre-credit scene in the first Conjuring movie. It's just a doll, a rolling crayon, some pounding on some doors.
Yep.
Watch reaction videos on YouTube of the people watching movies. That first scene, people lose their mind.
Oh yeah.
What do you see? No blood. No one gets hurt. it's just a doll or rolling crayons,
It's
some writing on it,
tension.
and it just freaks people out.
Well, I think, and seeing it in a movie theater, you get to, you're getting that whole,
That's one thing about
that whole audience
yeah,
participation
horror
thing.
movies. Like that's one reason I wanted to see the first It, even though it was a scary movie because of the Stephen King. I wanted to see. I went to see like opening weekend somewhere. I forget where it was. Yeah, because seeing a horror movie with a crowd, it's like seeing a comedy.
It's a big difference, yeah.
Oh yeah, because it's just like when you have 300 people.
I mean, look at a movie like Paranormal Activity.
Oh yeah.
Okay, the first one, and I'm not a big fan of the franchise.
First one was very clever.
But in the first one, there were some very genuinely scary scenes.
Yeah.
Some very simple scenes of just a light turning on in the distance, stuff that they did in the background that was very disturbing, and then the others never got the point.
And the first Halloween did that too. Just
But I mean,
you see
when
Michael
you
Myers,
see
just see a
the
little
reactions
bit.
that
Like when
people have.
she's walking down the sidewalk, you just see.
That was nuts.
Yeah.
It's like ha ha.
And that was like in the first 3 minutes of the
Yeah.
movie or something.
Yeah.
But I remember that first experience with the first Halloween in a movie theater. I mean, it was just, we were going out of our
Yeah.
minds. I'd never seen anything like that in my life.
Yeah.
And they didn't, they really didn't show you
It was terrible.
that was what made it so scary.
Yeah.
Like you said,
So what is it like for you to see these movies that you've been in? Because I'm assuming these shots that they're filming, you might be in daylight, but when you see it on the screen, it might look like night.
Yeah. It's funny because it really is. It's fun to do them. And what is scary? The scariest thing that ever happened to me. There's a thing in. I think it's in Insidious 2, where there's like this bride shrouded thing, and in the film, the character Carl, he's like, because he's clairvoyant, and I touch it, and in the script it says he has these visions and stuff. Well, all I'm doing, I'm shooting in the middle of the afternoon, and I'm acting up a storm, and I'm just like, But then I went to Los Angeles like 6 months later to do ADR, where you're putting in, cleaning up sound and stuff. And I'm doing it, and I have a microphone here, and usually you'll have like TV monitor, but they had like a big movie screen, like right there with me. And so what they do is they go, do you want us to play it for you first? You've got headphones on. I go, play it for you first so you know. Because for that scene, I had to do a lot of... I got hyperventilated doing it. Most of my stuff was... So I'm like this, and the movie's like, the screen's like right here, and I'm here. And so now, when it's all darker and moodier with the light and all this and the thing, and I get to see what Carl sees. It scared the shit out of me. I went, ah! And it took me a while to because I have to watch and match my breathing. So yeah, it is very weird because it's not scary. It really, except like I mentioned that one thing shooting in that hospital. Apart from that, there's a lot of joking because there's so much tension in the scenes. If you're also, if you were methody and you were like all off like that, it would make it too much. I think we'd come off as melodramatic, and particularly Patrick Wilson, Vera Farmiga, and Lynn Shay. Oh my God! Again, we take doing the job really, really seriously, but in between, it's just nothing but attacking each other, or making fun of each other, or making fun of themselves. And especially when, again, you're in your 40s, 50s, and you're running around. It's like you're playing war as a kid, and it's great. I have no complaints. But I do think that part of the joking around is it helps it. It helps it because otherwise, it would just be.
you can't stay intense like that all the time.
No, and I don't think it would be good either because it's also you can focus it more and not overdo it. Because we've all seen things that are like, oh, this is going to be a. Because anything has humor to it too. And it's also if you've been some of the best actors I've worked with, they're joking right up until we start. Because they're prepared. Now, I've worked with actors to do that, and they're not prepared, and so when you start, they're messing up their lines. But it doesn't happen with, I just did one in Oppenheimer. Cillian Murphy, he's not, especially with Oppenheimer, it's a very specific, I don't know if you've seen it, he has a very specific way of talking, and Cillian Murphy's Irish. As soon as it cuts, he's going, oh, hey, Steve. He's just like, because he's a professional.
It's like Andrew Lincoln on The Walking Dead.
Exactly. Well, he would stay in he would keep his American accent because it was hard.
Yeah.
It's very hard for British actors to do an American. I think he just kept in that because he was afraid of going, I know, Steve. But he wouldn't, he was an example during the day on set, he'd always stay in character.
Yeah.
But Kevin Spacey, bless his heart, sorry, it's a shame he did all that terrible stuff. But he was like that. He was such a professional. He was probably the most prepared actor because I did House of Cards, and one of the scenes we did, he had this long, probably 3-minute monologue broken up. He never missed a single line in it. But in between, he wasn't like sitting there studying a script. He was talking with the crew. He wasn't doing anything inappropriate. He was, but again, I've noticed that because I came from theater. And with theater's like that because you're doing a show 8 days a week, and you're really prepared, and you know it. So you'll be talking like, anyway. So I gotta go. Okay, well, and you just go in. And they were joking about.
I used to play games with myself on set. I'm a
Yeah.
theater, started as a kid.
Okay.
Theater. And we would have a game with each other if we were making an appearance. How far would we go if the minute the light hits you?
Wow.
Slip into that character and see how well you.
Yeah, if you're really prepared.
Yeah,
because this is a very. If you take yourself too, I think this is a life lesson too. But I was doing a play in New York one time, and it was in my 20s, so I was a very intense young actor, and I was way too intense. And I was playing. It was a great role. It was a funny play. It was the writer had asked me. He'd written the role with me in mind, so it was like I didn't have to prove anything. And we were performing it, and a director that I'd worked with before he came to see it, he goes, "Well, Steve, it's good, but," and pardon my language, because it looks like you're shitting grapefruits up there. And I was like, it was a great way. I was working too hard. I was just like, you gotta. It's like with baseball, you can't grip the ball, you have to sort of hold it, And then I think, like anything, it was a really good lesson of I remember doing I did a Diary of Anne Frank, and I remember I'd be like, I learned another lesson there, a young actor, I was playing Pate, and I remember thinking, oh, it was the Nazis. I'd be like an hour before sitting on the stairs, backstage, getting into the Nazi world. Then the director said, you don't know it's the Holocaust. You're just a kid. You're 16 years old. And there's this girl you really like. And it's really kind of cool hiding up here. You don't, and so you learn these, as an actor, you learn to, and it's funny when you see young actors now, where you kind of look at them like, well, you'll learn.
Yep.
You can't, you're not better by being that intense. I promise me. It's, you do all your work, what I always tell actors too, it's supposed to, like, hopefully anyone's job, not just acting, you should find joy in it. And it's like, that's what whenever actors talk about the work, or I told my wife to punch me in the face if I ever call myself a storyteller. Like, I always see these actors, somebody like, think, we are the world's storytellers. It's like, who's the storyteller? I was a storyteller with my daughter, when she was little. I would make up stories. And I am a writer. When I write, okay, I'm not a storyteller. Someone else wrote 6 drafts of this scene. I'm the actor outer.
Probably changed it in between takes.
Oh, yeah, I can't. I watch award shows. It's like, don't ever let me say anything. It's ridiculous. We're storytellers. We're blessed. Anyway. So.
Questions? We've only got a few minutes left here. Final thoughts?
Yeah.
They're crunching forthcoming?
I'm pretty positive it is. I mean, those damn things make so much money. It's weird that we don't hear until right before, not long before that, sometimes they'll go, Steve, make sure you're free. So I've heard little things, but the fact that the end of the Nun 2 does it kind of. I mean, the post-credit scene kind of passes a baton that I think will get followed up. That's about as much.
But you're right, yeah, the box office is so good on those,
And
you know they're gonna go for
Patrick Wilson probably needs to build another pool. And I love Artichoke.
So why doesn't he do another Watchmen film? I'd like to ask him that, I love that film.
That was good.
The TV series was better.
TV series was great.
The TV series was good.
That was
Yes, it
really,
was.
that was really,
Yes.
really
Okay.
good. Well, that's the thing about it. I
I'm
think,
surprised how good that guy, because especially the guy that was in Don Johnson. I'm really surprised.
Yeah.
Wow, that is just, I didn't realize he could act that well.
Yeah.
That's
Well, yeah, I think this could be a whole other panel, but I think TV has kind of spoiled us in a good way because there's certain things that's like are just better. Like the thing I mentioned, your bodies. I could see it being a feature film, but stretching it out over like 8-10 episodes, it's just so much.
So it's more in line with the graphic novel.
Yeah,
Nice.
that's what it's based on. Yeah.
Especially I think it's almost a thing they do it on purpose where they, instead of releasing all at once, they release it once a week. They
Yeah.
actually build the space.
I like that a lot.
I think actually that helps.
No, TV has spoiled us because the more creative stuff is coming out on it now.
Yeah, you think
With
Breaking
the
Bad-
streaming, they're
Well, you can be
now
more
beholden to the studios who are always telling them
Yeah.
how to do stuff,
Yeah.
and they're just doing stuff that has been successful before. So you're seeing the more it's more like when we were growing up in the 60s and 70s
Yeah, like
with the
Tom
age of
Jackson,
independent
yeah,
film.
yeah.
Those years were great.
Think about the Gene Hackman
You could go to a
movies and stuff.
multiplex where there are 8 different movies that you'd never heard of, anyone who was in them, and see some brilliant stuff. Because they weren't saddled with all of the crap
and
that
they
the
didn't
big
have to
studios
make
had.
$100 million.
Yes. And some of them did. Yeah, look at Easy Rider.
Yeah. Well, thanks for coming. That's all I got.
I think we're doing another insidious discussion tomorrow morning.
Really? I won't be at that
But you'll
one.
be in New
I'll be in New
Orleans.
Orleans.
So what we're gonna do, Steve, is hook you up on Zoom. And,
I'll be in my hotel.
nah, we don't do that.
Well, thank you for coming.
Have a good time, folks.